Last one up, part 5. What's in a name? It is custom for a newly appointed harbinger to be presented to the deacon of the Church of Gathered Ravens and submit to a purification rite. While I do not require your participation in religious services, nor may my clergy command you in most circumstances, I do not require that you be respectful of the beliefs, customs, and prayers of my followers, particularly if you wish to avail yourself of their services. She paused as if expecting me to say or ask something. I leapt at the opening. May I ask why? You do not derive anything from my participation? I would think my time would be better served seeking personal development or pursuing my role more directly rather than participate in religious rites and ceremonies. You are correct in that. I do not glean divine power from worship by an archfey, as you are not mortal. However, the participation of a powerful being reinforces their belief in me. Furthermore, it enables you to establish a base of power for yourself as a prospective patron who deals in boons and favors. I looked askant at her. Do not take this as ingratitude, but why would you permit me to do that? Your mother is not the only one with vested interest in seeing you succeed and advance in power. So long as you do not divest me of worshippers of my divinity, you have my blessing to cultivate a clientele for your patronage from my worshippers. When would be an appropriate time to present myself at the Church of the Gathered Ravens? You wish to present yourself looking like that, Storm Girl? The Morgan inquired, her tone implying my appearance was ill-suited. I would wear the mask you provided, of course. That said, I pulled the mask over my face. I usually introduce my harbingers of death with a higher degree of anonymity. The Morgan proceeded to extend her hand with the index ring and pinky finger of her left hand pointed up and held her ring finger with her thumb. Moments later, an ink-black shadow arose from the ground and enveloped me, clinging to my clothes and accessories. That looks more appropriate. She nodded approvingly. I looked down to notice the colors of my clothing were no longer yellows, reds, blues, browns, and metallic silver, but different shades of gray, dark blue, or true black. Must you suck the color out of everything, Your Majesty? Is that a literal question, Stormcrow? I understand the scientific principle about colors being different degrees of light. Black is an absence of light. Oh? The Morgan looked at me with a raised eyebrow. Are you sure? Because I, in fact, did not suck the color out of anything. Your clothing is coated with shade cloth. I nodded as I was familiar with the fabric and its concealment properties. But different colors are pleasing to look at. That is precisely why shade cloth exists, to blunt colors so as to avoid detection. Black makes me look pale and thin. You are of partial Eldrin blood by birth, the Morgan observed. Your natural look is to be pale and thin. You could use the gifts of your inborn connection to nature to reflect the foliage, geological coloration, and seasonal patterns of your immediate environment, much like a chameleon or cuttlefish. But for some reason, your kind often prefers the brightest colors and in often garish patterns instead. I thought you wanted anonymity, I pointed out to her. Someone wearing all black is going to be noticed. No, you will want anonymity due to the general purpose of your visits done on my behalf. If they see you, they can only describe you as a tall, thin being in a crow's mask dressed in black and gray. The Phantom Queen explained in an evenly measured tone. The Morgan and I bantered back and forth for several minutes on the merits and drawbacks of drawing attention from onlookers and the best tactics to use to gain and deflect attention. Eventually, I decided to yield to her preference for me to adopt a more solemn presentation. I think this disagreement is merely going to circle around based on situational factors rather than two absolutes. I remarked. I don't agree with you in regards to the best approach for a herald, but I concede your experience in the matter of death harbingering is superior to mine. I bow once more. I will adopt the mask and whatever drab, black and gray coloration you dictate is most effective to carry out my responsibilities. Is there anything else regarding the dress code? The Phantom Queen smiled and held up the Gurkha knife. This. She took hold of my right wrist and pressed the hilt into my hand. Is your formal badge of office, dressed to project the dignity and station of your role? Remember, you will often be the last individual many see as their life closes, Stormcrow. When she spoke, it eerily reminded me of my mother when she spoke of courtly responsibilities, and I nodded. Yes, Your Majesty. I nodded gravely and closed my fingers around the knife handle. And at that moment, I realized although I had a velvet-textured grip, the unmistakable scent of blood filled my nose and disappeared only after I tucked the knife into a sheath loop on my component belt. A subtle sensation to head northwest entered my consciousness, but it was not the direction of death. I sensed the location of every church, shrine, temple, cemetery, and grave site dedicated to her. They are her holy sites. Is the Church of Gathered Ravens in that direction? Yes, the Morgan nodded. 5 leagues from here. Let us be off. I donned the crow mask as the Morgan traced a familiar series of arcane patterns in midair. A hole existing outside the definitions of time and space appeared, and hundreds of blackbirds came pouring through and surrounded us. And we're back! Thank you for enjoying our D&D inspired tale of fairy godmothers and fairy godfathers. Would James Brown be a fairy godfather in D&D? I'll let you think on that. This ain't the end, friends. This is not the end, friends. Just like Chucky. D&D stories for life. More of them. We're doing a handful of them. But thank you. Like and subscribe. All that stuff. Let the light of Gygax